Alright, what up guys? So today we'll be taking a look at the autographs I got from Kameha 2018, which took place on May 4th through the 6th. I'll be talking about the experiences and stories around them. So the way this video will be structured is I'll be showing the ones at the beginning of the book and go towards the end. So I took a book called Dragonball: The Complete Illustrations, which is also known as Daizenshu number 1. I took it to get signed because I thought it's perfect, since it does have a lot of art from Toriyama of his characters. So yeah. So there's a lot to go through, so let's just get right into it. So first up, Mazako X from Team 4-Star. You guys might know him from Dragon Ball Z Abridged as Goku and others. He was actually the only member to go to this convention and was also the first to sign the book. So the story behind this was that we were all still in line to get let into the convention. It hadn't yet started, and so I saw him around a bunch of fans, and I eventually greeted him and asked if he would sign the book. And so at this point, I actually wasn't sure if I would have anyone else sign the front or the back of the book when he asked where he should sign it. So I said, wherever you'd like, even here on the cover. So he did. He was actually one of the nicest people I met that day, and actually much taller than I thought. So yeah, that was really cool, and I also got a picture with him. So next up we got Derrick Padula. If you didn't know, he's the only Dragon Ball scholar in the world. He trained with the Shaolin monks, and he's also a writer. So essentially he had a booth there at the convention, and I saw him while I was looking for some cool things to buy with a friend of mine. So I approached him really excitedly, and we had a cool talk about his books. He was actually really enjoying taking a look at the book before signing, and after talking a little bit, he realized I knew quite a bit about the series and was curious to see my thoughts on the characters that Goku was fighting on one of these pages. He also wanted to know when I thought Toriyama must have drawn them, so I said I was sure we hadn't seen them in the series yet, and also that I thought that he drew them around the time he was doing character art for Chrono Trigger. So he agreed with all that, and then he signed the book. I took a picture with him, shook his hand, and then I had to leave because there was people asking about his books. So yeah, I actually really respect this man, and at the moment I'm actually reading his Dragon Ball Culture series. It's a really good read, and it's got a lot of interesting bits of information on Toriyama influences, and it's also the closest thing we've got to a biography on Toriyama, so I do recommend it. It's also not expensive at all, so yeah, you could check that out. And he does have other series, so if you want, yeah, that's pretty cool. And yeah. So next up we got Phil Parsons, the voice of Napa. He was one of the last people to sign the book, actually. He gave me a picture of himself and a character, which I'm showing right now. So this here is actually one of those art pieces you can have signed if you don't have something on you. And so he asked if I wanted it to be a personal message to someone, and I said, well, what about this quote? He said, what? He thought about it for a second and was like, oh, I see, that's funny. And so yeah, Nappa should hate Vegeta for killing him. Alright, so next up we got Mike Mcfarlane. So I feel a lot of these voice actors are great and all, but man, I really like him as Master Roshi. He's also pretty cool as Baby. So Mike's pretty funny. So I told him how Roshi and whoever Jackie Chun is are some of my favorite characters in all of Dragon Ball, and he kind of smirked to that and then did the Roshi laugh, so that was cool. We had a small conversation, and at a point he said something that implied that they were the same guy, and he caught himself kind of late, and he kind of just smiled and he was like, oof. So we were just playing around, and yeah. So he was one of the many voice actors I really enjoy watching interviews or panels with, and at the panels of the convention, you could tell that he's really good at improv. So yeah, nice guy. Alright, so next up we got Laurie Steel. She is great as Kid Krillin. I feel she deserves to be mentioned way more. And she also started using social media like 2 years ago, so you can follow her now on Twitter if you guys want. I asked her if it was hard to do the laugh at all, and she said no and quickly responded with Krillin's little laughter, so again, that was pretty cool. I had never seen her at any conventions or panels on YouTube or anything, so it was really nice that Kameha got her. And so yeah, it was nice to see her there. Alright, so next up we got Sonny Strait. That's actually kind of funny he's next. Anyways, when I met him, I thanked him for voicing and defending Krillin throughout the years. We both think Krillin deserves more respect, and he's a really great character in Dragon Ball, so yeah. It's pretty cool that he voices Bardock completely different and in a way that sounds really badass, so yeah. Sorry, I'll try to go a little quicker, I know. So moving on, we got Cynthia Krantz. So she's a really kind woman and told me she prefers Chi-Chi when she's being a badass. It's actually kind of funny, the book had more Kid Chi-Chi art than adult her, so we actually had a bit of a tough time finding a good spot for her to sign, but this one was excellent. So she was one of the first people to autograph the book actually, and was surprised by it and thought it was pretty neat. So I'll bring her up later on, but yeah. Okay, so next up we got John Burgmaier. So I was really excited to talk to him. He voices my second favorite Dragon Ball character. It's actually the tie with Roshi. So I told him how I really like Tien and think he's just so interesting with his moves and all. And he said it's always really nice to meet fans of Tien. I had to shake his hand, so I did, and then went on. Christopher Sabat. He's such a cool dude. I didn't ask him to, but once he saw the art and how many of his characters were there, he signed it multiple times and added the "what the." He was the last person to sign these pages, and his line was huge, even for the VIPs, which is the line I was in. So we took a picture, and I also had to shake his hand, and then I left, really happy. Okay, so next up we got Justin Cook. So he was talking to one of the managers that help with lines and selling stuff. So I waited nearby, and when appropriate, I asked if he would be signing soon, and he said, "Yeah, in a few minutes, but I'll sign yours right now." He had seen the book, so I thanked him, and while he was signing, I asked if he preferred Super Boo or Raditz. He said, "Oh, that's a tough one," and that he likes them equally. They're both villains, but they are very different. I also told him I really enjoy him as Yusuke Urameshi from Yu Yu Hakusho. He said, "Thank you," we shook hands, and then he let me have that picture. So yeah, really nice guy. Monica Rial. So she voiced Bulma starting with Kai onward, so let me try and explain where she got the inspiration to write what she did. So funny thing is, I was next for her autograph in the VIP line, but a wedding was going down with Christopher Sabat marrying a Bulma Bunny cosplayer and a guy wearing a Vegeta Bad Boy shirt from when Mecha Frieza arrived on Earth. So we both headed over, and I asked if she would sign the book next when we got back, and she said sure. The whole thing lasted like 10 minutes, and so I watched the entire thing go down next to her while Cynthia Krantz was on the other side also recording and watching as we were. So what's also cool is that when we got back, she signed it, and I also got a picture of her signing as a witness to the wedding, while Sabat was also near us dressed as a priest. I may share those pictures and many other videos from the convention someday, I'm not sure, probably on Twitter. Linda Young. So she was another person I was really excited to meet. She signed the art of Frieza, and I asked if she would put a happy face next to a character on another page, and told her she'd see why in a bit. So she sees it and smiles, cause it's Arale. Linda got to voice her in Dragonball, and if you guys have seen my video where I asked her a question on a panel about that character, you can see she really likes the weirdness of Arale. So next she did the Frieza laughter before I left, and I was so full of joy, and her husband also laughed because he knew what Linda was to me. So that was all awesome. By the way, she's also John Burgmaier's mother, Ten Shinhan's voice actor. Okay, Peter Calamus. It was actually more exciting to meet him because of his voice as Rolf from Ed, Edd n Eddy, because that show was actually something I really enjoyed as a kid, and even now it can make me laugh, especially how he performs Rolf and his weird phrases. Peter is hilarious, and he's really good at improv, as I got to see in his panels, and he's also the second Ocean Dub Goku, so yeah, that was really cool to meet him. Brian Drummond. So he's really funny too. After the convention and meeting them both, I decided to buy and revisit the Ocean dub. Last time I had seen any episode before that was way back when I was like in the 7th grade or so, and they are both really talented, along with many others in that dub. So I'm really hoping to see Scott McNeil someday, along with Ian Corlett, who has been announced for this next Kamehacon, so I guess we'll see. Eric Vale. Eric is such a joy at these cons. He's really funny with the type of humor he has. Like, he can be very dry, and then he could be at his throats with Damien, and they are clearly just messing around, but it's always funny. Even by himself or with Monica, he's hilarious and great with improv. He was very fun to watch at the panels, and I also got a picture with him, so that was cool. Damien Clark. Damien is the exact same way. He likes to joke that he's high and mighty and perfect like Cell. Both him and Eric do joke around a lot against each other, but they can both show that they are very smart and go in depth with their answers to questions. I also got to ask him something at a panel, which is also on the channel if you guys want to see. So yeah. Kyle Haber. So Kyle was another really exciting person to meet, of course for Teen Gohan from the beginning of the Buu arc, and especially as Ultimate Gohan, but also Ryu from Street Fighter 4 and on. He was another of the early ones to sign the book, and I wasn't sure, but I asked him if I could take one of the art pieces he had on the table, and he said sure, why not? So that was really cool of him. He's a really nice guy and was actually a fan of the Ocean dub of Z before even getting casted as Gohan, the Ox King, and the narrator. So after him signing it, we took a few pictures and I shook his hand, and it was really nice meeting him, and I'm really happy I did. Next up is Kara Edwards. So it just seemed natural to have her sign next after him and on the same page. In real life, Kyle and Kara are good friends and have worked with each other even before working on Funimation, and it shows. I was so excited to meet her and was really geeking out in the inside because I love her performance as Videl. I told her that I genuinely love her voice for Videl and made it clear that it's not because Kara is an awesome and kind person, but just the performance is excellent. She popped up and said, "I love it, I just love it," and hugged me, and we took a few pictures. So it's actually pretty funny, but in one of them, she decided to take a weird one without telling me. So we posed, and all I see is my best friend trying to contain his laughter, and so I look at her and there she is pretending to take a bite out of me. So I kind of just freaked out the way and we began laughing. She said she didn't know why she did it, but it was hilarious and it's such a great memory. So next up we got Chris Rager, Mark, aka Mr. Satan. also known in the dub as Hercule. So this man loved to pretend he was actually him for the fans, and that was always hilarious to see and hear. And he seems full of life. You can always hear him do his "oh yeah" in Mr. Satan's voice, and even Danny got him to perform a WWE type of pay-per-view spot where he was just roasting and calling someone out in that voice, and that was really awesome. And he also did the voice while signing this too, and he also complimented the book, so that was also awesome. Okay, so next up we got Josh Martin. So him and Chris Rager are very much alike, and it makes a lot of sense that they are really good friends as they are. He's very chill but knows how to hype up a crowd, and will also do the voice of Boo for some fun. He's also extremely funny and has some experience as a stand-up comedian, and it really showed in his panels. And you guys can see what I mean on one of my videos where I asked him a question about Booby and that whole storyline. So yeah, check that out. So next we have the host of KamehaCon, Danny, Geekdom 101. So the excitement level of meeting him and other hardcore Dragon Ball fans was through the roof. After the first panel, I decided I needed to congratulate him and try and meet him, so me and my friends just kind of went for it. I kind of made them, I kind of just said, let's go, and we just started walking over. So he was taking pictures and shaking hands with some people, and someone wanted him to sign something, but the room was so dark, so we all headed out. We were surrounded by people like Maria, aka Miss DBZ Babe, Oppai Senpai, and just other fans and friends in general. It's actually kind of funny, Oppai said hello to me and a friend before I could even tell who it was because it was so dark, and he's a cool dude too. Anyways, when Danny and all of us headed out, I finally got to talk to him, and he surprised me by asking if, in my opinion, he did good. I was shocked, and I said, bro, you did excellent. I get it because he was nervous that first day when it came to the panels, but he was great, like really good. And I could tell he's a very humble guy. So yeah, it was really nice meeting him. So next we got Juan, aka Blackenfist. So as Danny was signing the book, I asked if I could also take a picture with him when Blackenfist shows up out of nowhere, and I was shaking out of excitement and had him also be in our photo, and that was pretty cool. And he later signed the book. He asked if it was Dissension #1, and I told him no, it was the complete illustrations, the US version, and he said that it was pretty cool that I planned to get it signed by everyone. So again, this was right after the first panel. No one really had a chance to meet the voice actors yet, so just to be clear. And next we got Quinn, aka Quaman's Land. So he was the second person actually to sign this book. Again, he was another person I saw before the convention even started. So we were pretty close in line, so I just decided to walk over there and say hello. So it's kind of funny, he told me that he wanted to stay hidden, so he told me not to like tell anyone that that's who it was, and to also call him Nathan. He signed the book, and then later after the first panel, we were also hanging out around Blackenfist and Geekdom and Oppai and many other people like Mike from Laughingstock Media and MJ as well. And then I also took pictures with all of them, so that was also really cool. And so yeah, there was more of them who signed, like Mike, which was also one of the very early ones to sign, and then MJ, but I didn't really get to talk to them much. And then after the first panel, when I was talking to Mike again, and also Geekless when he signed, we quickly just took a photo, and we had to go back down to the other floor because we were being escorted out. So yeah, but either way, they're all cool dudes, and yeah. Alright, so there you go guys, those were all the people who signed the book at the first KamehaCon. I'll be going again this year, and I guess that means I'll just get more autographs and maybe make an update video for this. But yeah, so leave any questions you got down below. Thank you guys for watching, like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.